6 months have passed since you defeated the Netherbrain. And since then, you have seen more of life than you ever thought possible. You are greeted as a savior, a champion, a hero. But sometimes you feel like something else entirely. An adventurer, a traveler, a survivor. You faced down the gods. You thwarted the grand design. Anything seems possible. But before you can write the next chapter of your story, you must end this one. That's why you're going back to where all of this began, answering an invitation to gather with your allies and friends.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon, wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
Bro. Okay, hold on. Save. Nope, I hit cancel. I pressed cancel.
I know well indeed. Weavers can pluck wine from all over the world.
A familiar sight. Scratch can't quite speak around the thing he has in his mouth.
What have you got there, Scratch?
I found this. It smelled like you, so I kept it. Seemed like something you might like to throw.
How have you been?
Oh, I've been so good. I've got a nice home in the city now. A girl named Mindy says I'm her best friend. She's mine too. Also you and Albert. I've got so many best friends, I hardly know who to play with.
I'm so glad to hear you fared well since our travels.
I certainly have, and I always will. Forever, I think. And so will you.
It's a dangerous object. I'm not sure we should be playing with it.
You know best. But a little fetch never hurt anyone, as far as I know.
I like how I still have the necromancy book.
Oh, boy! Is it lovely to sniff you again? You always know just how to do it.
Friend? Friend! You came! Big brother Scratch, too! Happy.
You're a lot bigger than Scratch now.
Yes, big! But Scratch is smart. Teaches me many things. Like Big Brother.
What have you been doing since we last met?
Lots! Make friends with a turtle, a cat, a kraken. Kraken eats my cat friend, so I bite, kill. With shiny clothes, I am strong. Tired now. Want sleep, want cave.
You need someone to look after you. How about Halsum?
Bear man? He is big, but not bigger than me. I like him. I go to him.
Okay, good.
Oh, boy! Is it lovely to sniff you again?
I'll play fetch.
Do you even have to ask? You always know just how to do it. I certainly have, and I always will.
Leslie still got things to say, so...
A night without care. No worry, no obligation. It's been too long.
Never knew you to be cruel.
I said it to you, not them.
Never wanted the easy path.
You starting to wonder if you'd show up?
Shadowheart, right? Like, I forgot her name. You lot could hardly manage without me.
You can say that with a straight face after all the times I had to come to your aid. Oh, come here, will you? It's been forever. You feel a little more substantial than before. Less camping and scrounging off the land, I take it.
Are you calling me chubby?
Filled out and healthy is what I was going for. Don't tell me you miss living off whatever scraps we found in crates and barrels. I'm glad you seem well. Trudy.
Tell me what you've been up to.
Wandering, mostly. The adventuring life is almost a tonic when you're not constantly threatened by brain monsters and cultists. I can finally see the world beyond the cloister.
I thought you might crave a little peace and quiet after all that happened.
Peace and quiet will still be there waiting once I've lived a little. Though, don't get me wrong, I've got a little cottage with a garden and animals in mind already. One of my first stops was the House of the Moon in Waterdeep. It's the largest temple of Selûne in existence. It seemed like the perfect spot to reflect on my parents, on where they came from. And where I came from too, I suppose. Hard to imagine, isn't it? Me, of all people, in the lair of the Moon Witch herself. God, your truest act of heroism was putting up with all that char and drivel I was spouting for so long.
Your parents would be proud.
Oh, I know they are. I can still sense them, I think. And one day we'll be reunited.
What else have you been doing?
Well, I've had run-ins with my former fellow Sharans on a couple of occasions. Word seems to have spread of what happened at the cloister. Now other chapters of Shar worshippers see me as a prime target to offer up to their lady as a sacrifice. Don't worry. I know their tired old tricks better than anyone. They'll need more than a hooded cloak and poisoned blade to best me. Especially when I have a friend on the inside keeping me abreast of their predictable little plans.
You mean Nocturne?
None other. The matter of her faith and allegiances remains complicated, let's say. But she is still my oldest friend. I have hopes that perhaps she might turn from Shar entirely given time. But that's a decision she will have to make for herself. If that day comes, I'll be ready.
So what's next?
I don't know. Which is just the way I like it just now. Perhaps I'll just stick a pin in a map and see what I find, or head to the docks in the morning and scrounge a berth to find somewhere new. I'd like to see the islands, maybe, or head south to Arm. I heard there's an enclave of werecats that hunt the followers of dark gods by moonlight. I'd love to see if there's any truth to that. But enough about me. What have you been up to? Don't be a stranger.
Oh, what have you been up to? Alright, bye. Like, I'm getting out of here. Boring, done.
Ah, my dear friend, it's been an age, has it not? You're looking very well indeed. Our skeletal friend will be very pleased to see I found my way here, despite my invitation getting lost in the post.
You again, getting yourself into more trouble, I presume?
Always, my friend. But the villain I must needs slay today is my greatest yet. A deadline. You won't be surprised to find I'm soon to publish a little holiday read about our adventures together. I've gotten quite good at replicating your signature, so you needn't even bother with the release form.
Oh,
You
God.
might help me with the title, though. I'm considering The Hero and Me. What do you think?
Presuming I'm the hero.
Oh, that would be telling, wouldn't it? But believe you me, my friend, not a word could have been written without you. Perhaps, once the manuscript is finished, you'd even be willing to write a foreword? Or better yet, I'll write a draft and you can just sign your name. Better still, I'll sign it for you. Hmm? Ah, your success really has been wonderful for my reputation. But you mustn't let me hog your attention all night, my friend. You've many friends to chat to, and I'd love to listen in.
Dear God.
Why were we scrounging in barrels and crates of supplies when he could source food?
A pity mutton chops no longer hold any temptation.
When we had to eat 14 apples, some fish heads, and a stale loaf of bread just to get by.
It's good to meet again.
I hear her. There she is.
You see, Boo? I told you our friend was near. Boo! We are not dreaming. It is our old friend.
It's good to see you too.
Oh, and it is good to be seen. Oh, after so many days down in the dark, Minsk began to wonder if he was some blind bug who had only dreamed himself to be large and bulksome. You will forgive the aroma, I hope. We were not expecting the Dusty One to open a portal to our very cell. Boo had a moment to lick himself clean, but there is a little too much of Minsk to cover.
You were in a cell? What for?
Minsk and Boo have been helping, of course. We guard the streets, while Jaheira is occupied with harperish matters. The Zentarum rule the city's underbelly, so Minsk and Boo went to give them a tickle. There were harsh words, battle cries, some manner of head wound. We awoke in a Zentish cell, awaiting trial by noble combat. Execution, says Boo, though I am not sure of the difference. It is a long walk to the gallows, and Minsk still has his fists, no?
Does Jaheira know you're off the leash?
She told Minsk and Boo to behave themselves, which is why we shall be back in our cell by dawn. But leave such matters for the morn. Tonight is for celebration and the telling of tales. How have you filled your days since we tore this sticky tyrant from the sky?
Just living now that I found someone to live it with.
Aha, the lovebirds still nest together then? Minsk is glad. For what is life without a companion? Though I am thinking yours does not sit on your shoulders, eh? Ah, you are right, Boo. That is none of Minsk's business. There is much merriment to be made before the night is done. Go and greet the others. Minsk shall make himself presentable. Ah, this pond shall do nicely, Boo. Though I see no soap. So you shall have to blow the bubbles for me.
Oh, pardon me.
Thank Mother Give.
The heck is in there? Oh, end your adventure.
There you are. I was hoping you'd make your way
You would
over.
think someone of my vintage would be inured to the passage of time. Yet these past 6 months have seemed endless without your company. But now, our paths cross once more.
Oh yeah, there you are. I knew you'd come to talk to me, and then I immediately talked to the guy next to him. You sound almost sentimental considering... No, we did get along. Yeah, I've missed you too.
We have all pined for each other's company, I sense. I cannot imagine otherwise after what we shared. That bond was forged in a crucible that can never be stoked again, Oak Father willing. It is a bond that can weather any distance, any passage of time. I know it can, for I feel the longing for old friends in my heart each day.
That's life, I'm afraid. Can't go back.
True, we cannot. But we can make a future the best, even the fondest of memories. Then each reunion shall be all the sweeter. And who's to say we need to make such gatherings a rare occasion? My hearth is yours to warm yourself beside always. Now, we have much to catch up on. Do not allow me to ramble on. I am eager to hear all you've been doing.
Karlach. Yeah, you first.
In that case, very well. Our community grows rapidly. In 6 months, we have turned what was once a shadowy wasteland into a true home for all. In another 6 months, I would wager the scars of the past will be entirely invisible, even to those who remember them. The old masonry of Moonrise Towers and Rythwin have been repurposed into new homes, and the land is rich with harvests and bountiful trees. Nature and civilization are in harmony, stronger together.
There were quite a few young wards to care for, 9 wagons of them.
My greatest purpose and greatest reward. Those children have been through more than fate had any right to cast at them, and yet they go on as resilient as anything in nature. I impart what knowledge I can to them, yet, in truth, they teach me far more. The land we saved is theirs, and they will cherish it, I'm sure. Thaniel and Oliver shall never want for friends again.
Yeah, I'm glad you're happy.
As am I. I may age more slowly than most, but I do believe I've gained some new laughter lines of late. Now, please, tell me all, and spare no details. I shall not lie. I have an ulterior motive in wishing to hear all. It is the children, you see. My charges. Their appetite for bedtime tales is greater than I could ever have anticipated. Another story, Daddy Halsin. Another is the chorus that greets me each nightfall. They have all but exhausted my repertoire in but a few short months. No mean feat given the lifetime I have lived. I desperately need new material, please. My reputation is at stake.
Ah. All right, let me see what I've got.
I am all ears. Though I never cared for that phrase. A rather unsettling image.
Yeah, regale Halsin with tales of your past 6 months. Hey, Devoid, what's up? You missed me refighting the Netherbrain, and in some ways doing better, and in some ways doing worse.
You have kept yourself busy. I expected no less, in truth. I shall be able to keep the children enthralled for a few more nights yet, thanks to you. And should you wish to retell of your exploits in person, well, I shall not object to a night off. Now, it would be cruel of me to hoard you all to myself for the evening, as much as I would like to. I shall leave you to the others for now, unless there was anything else.
Oh yeah, I may have volunteered you for something, if you'll forgive me. Might your new community have room for a well-behaved owlbear?
Do you truly even need to ask? Of course. Who could not open their home to a befeathered hero of Baldur's Gate? Ah, and I did promise the children I would bring them back a surprise. Oh, imagine their faces.
Perfect. Yeah, what of the Grove? Do you stay in touch there?
On occasion, but I prefer not to interfere. Francesca of the High Forest is Archdruid now, and by all accounts, she has proven to be a steady and wise influence. Even Korga may yet find true balance, thanks to her influence.
Yeah, I'm just glad it wasn't Korga. Tell me about Thaniel and Oliver.
Quite often. They come and go as they please, but with so many playmates to avail of, they are far from strangers. They ask after you often. What you did for them will never be forgotten. I can see it in the land all around me. But more importantly, I see it in their faces whenever they visit. To make a child smile is to dabble with the power of gods, as far as I'm concerned.
Still partial to roaming around in bear form?
I spend half my days in ursine form. The children demand it. I had a score of them taking turns riding upon my back just days ago. I'm glad they are so comfortable with the Oakfather's creations. But they must learn that not all are as amiable as I am. A lesson for another time, though. They deserve some joy. As for roaming, that impulse has dwindled, I must admit. Perhaps because I have found where I am meant to be.
Give me a hug.
I was just thinking the very same. I could get used to this.
Now. Alright, see you later. Your new bromance? No.
Before you go, I have something for you. Just a little keepsake, really. Do you remember how I told you I like to whittle?
No.
I made this. Ducks are my favorite, but I thought they were particularly fitting in this case. They are migratory birds, of course, traveling far and wide with the turn of the seasons. Yet, they always find their way back to where they belong. Just like old friends find themselves back in each other's company.
Enormous hands, dude. Does it do anything? You're sentimental at heart, you know that?
Oh, I am well aware, trust me. Now, I've taken up enough of your time. Go on, enjoy the festivities.
Received a whittled duck. That's just a whittled duck. That's so stupid.
A night without care. No worry, no obligation. It's been too long.
Old friend. For 2 months I trained the Knights of the Comet. For 2 more I skewered Kithraki bellies. And for 2 more yet, I traveled through Limbo. But to see your face, it brings me even more pleasure than taking a Royal Inquisitor's head. Limbo, she'd said. A plane of chaos where you might drink fire like water, where you might breathe ice instead of air, and the home of the mystical Githzerai. Once the Githzerai were one of the Githyanki, until bloody civil war severed them.
You've been to Limbo. Does that mean you ally with the Githzerai?
I do. I approach the gates of Shraktalor even now. Shraktalor. How well you know the name. The capital city of the Githzerai, and the home of their immortal god king, Zerith Menjar-Agith. Our Gish sent word of the rebellion to Menjar-Agith through the cosmos. He's agreed to parley. It's fallen to me to secure an alliance.
That's your romance? You may have a infinitely different interaction. Wait, the great warrior Lae'Zel is on a diplomatic mission?
Exactly the reaction I expected. My blade is keen as ever. But it was you who showed me that a proper victory doesn't always require a razor-sharp edge. Sometimes, a sincere plea is more persuasive than a dagger against the neck. Menjar-Agith is an ascetic. He reached out in good faith. This is his way. It is in this spirit that I must meet him. And if he refuses, I carry on. Gravity pulls me in but one direction. I am the comet. I will not rest until I burn Vlaakith's bones to ash and smash her phylactery to pieces. My people will be free. But you've heard that refrain before. Zealous, bossy, insistent. All part and parcel of my undeniable charm.
Okay. When will I see you again?
Soon. When the comet has risen. When the Lich Queen has crumbled to dust. I miss this place. More to the point, I missed you. I'll be back one day. The Overgod himself couldn't keep me away.
Alright, later.
Always, sweetheart. It's such a rich perfume.
Oh my lord.
Oh. Pardon me.
To your relief, your projection holds. It took a dozen Gish's talents, a few stolen psi crystals, and 2 10 days of effort to conjure it. You can touch, taste, and talk, but your fleshy body is in limbo, the home of the mystical Githzerai. Once the Githzerai were one with the Githyanki, until bloody civil war severed the Gith species. The Githzerai god king Menyar Ag Gith sent word through the cosmos. He knows of your rebellion, and he's agreed to parley. Should the Githzerai join you, you could vanquish Flakith in a red dragon's blink.
What's the word on the rebellion? I presume you've cracked open more Kithraki heads than you could possibly count.
I'm sorry, what? That's a bug. Weird. I guess I've turned to political concerns.
Diplomacy. Not so different from fighting, I find. You still grip your blade. You just hide it beneath a silken glove. I'm no stranger to it myself. A city is not rebuilt with the simple wave of a duke's hand. Bargains must be made. Coin must change hands. Tongues must be held in check. Still, I make the decisions I see fit. The ones I think will restore the city to glory. I serve only Baldur's Gate, not a devil of the first hell.
Why was it a bug? I'm not Githyanki. I'm not in limbo, cast into the astral sea. That's Lae'Zel. How's the city faring?
I've had more than a few challenges, given the horns sprouting from my head. The people know me as one of the champions who saved their beloved city. They know Ravengard blood flows through my veins. The patriarchs, the aristocracy, the councils of Waterdeep and Arm, their arms aren't so wide open. Still, there's no friction that can't be greased with a sly promise or a proposition.
When we first arrived, refugees were swarming the bridge. Things have changed?
The jewel of the coast will shine ever bright, welcoming the weak and the weary from wherever they hail. We are building new housing, not just shanties, but homes where families can rest their heads, plant gardens, pursue happiness. Amazing what can be done when Parliament and the Council pressure the upper city elites to open their coffers. I'm sure the Silver Shields can make do without a few more jeweled crowns.
In the Flaming Fist, Gortash turned them into his attack dogs.
I've entrusted the fist to Floric. She commands the Flaming Fist with as brave a heart as ever, and delivered them nary a scolding nor lashing. The likes of Gortash can bend people's minds with a few chosen words. No tadpole needed. Bane's Chosen primed the fist for a war they weren't meant to win. He convinced them there was an assassin hiding in every shadow, that cruelty was the correct answer to crisis. With a few exceptions, Florix pardoned every last fist. I will not make them drink the poison of my own resentment. Her words, not mine. Like my father, she believes in the bow and the blade. But she's teaching the fist a new lesson. Valor is found not in the wounds you inflict, but in the lives that you have bettered. May they all take it to heart.
What's happened to the Baldur's Gate Council of Four?
Disbanded, to be formed anew. I don't expect a soldier or street sweeper to see through the schemes of a tyrant like Gortash. But the city's lords and ladies were all too eager to abandon their oaths and bend the knee. Liara Porter is now Grand Duke of the Wilds, Sickle of Chult. Floric is now Grand Duke of the Crossing, the face of devotion. And I am Will Ravengard, Grand Duke of the Worm, Heart of the Gate. We will yet be four. Until such time and after, we will enact the will of the People's Parliament. Baldur's Gate is nothing without its citizens, both in the upper and lower. Our duty is to them, and only them. Of course.
I don't suppose you ever missed Mizora.
Never. The hexes and eldritch blasts, losing them took getting used to. They left behind a cold abyss where fire once raged. So I stoked a new one. Now the burning comes from within me, not from the depths of Avernus.
All right, see you later.
Go on. The night's young. You shouldn't waste a moment of it. Or waste a single drop of wine, for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oops. Did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen.
Astarion.
Well, look who decided to turn up. I wasn't sure our withered old friend could live up to his promise. But here we are. And you're looking more delicious than ever, if you don't mind me saying. Whatever you've been doing with your time, it clearly worked wonders.
You could thank my partner for that. Being with them has been a blessing.
Love is a powerful tonic. And where better to celebrate our good fortune? An old haunt with old friends.
Yeah, last time I saw you, you were running from the sun. What happened?
Exactly what I feared. Without the protection of our little friends, I was just an ordinary spawn again. Burning in the sun. I fled the dock and found refuge in the shadows until night fell. I'm sorry I didn't seek you out that night. I felt ashamed. Like I'd lost everything just as you claimed your victory. I didn't want you to see me like that. But time lent perspective. It wasn't your victory, it was ours. And for all I'd lost, I'd gained so much more. I had freedom, strength, a whole new life. And it was time to live it. I've taken a turn as an adventurer and hero. It turns out no one actually cares about murder, as long as you murder the right people. And apparently I'm rather good at it.
One of the good guys. Who would have thought?
Let's not get carried away, darling. I'm still me. Perhaps more me than I've ever been.
So what's next for you? You gonna keep living the good life?
Hardly. Good people don't spend as much time lurking in the dark as I do. You know, it's funny. At first, I thought I was trapped by the shadows, cursed to live in them forever. But in time, I realized that darkness is as much a part of me as my fangs. This is only a curse as long as I refuse to embrace the shadows. So, I decided I would. I decided not to be defined by the choices other people made, by what other people did to me. My past may be done, but my present, my future, they're mine. This is who I am, in all my glory, for better and for worse.
Acceptance looks good on you.
That being said, I haven't completely given up on returning to the sun. If the opportunity presented itself, well, I wouldn't say no. But until then, I am happy. We've had quite the journey, you and I. From the moment I first threatened you, I knew you were someone special. Someone to take on the world with. I will miss our time together. But then again, maybe this isn't goodbye. So much as it's, see you later, darling.
A night without care. No worry, no...
Well now. You can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to.
Yeah, I missed you too.
Ah, how nice to be understood again. I have spent the past months bickering with builders and bankers, all to restore the city exactly as it was. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers, same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon, same cisterns overflowing, huh?
You're not happy to see the city restored to its former glory?
Do you know, I am. I have been known, on occasion, to speak ill of Baldur's Gate. But the city is more than her squalid streets. Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three. But nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, healers. My own son, Jord, has been wooed to their ranks. Already he plans crop cycles in Worm's Crossing. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist. Temporarily, you understand. To organize the craftsmen. Though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing aid funds. They might learn a thing or two if they don't expel her. Again.
You must be proud of them.
I suppose I am. I tried to steer them clear of my life's work, but they have chosen it for themselves. There is still much to do. People to house. A Harper network to rebuild. I may have little love for this city, but so long as my family chooses to serve it, I can do no less.
Yeah, I'm sorry you've had so much work, but there's no one better to do it.
The songs of my suffering will break hearts from here to the Hordlands, I am sure. Now, before this night grows any deeper, I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
Who haven't we talked to? Minsk, who's that? Gale.
Oh, right. You. Hello.
Gale's friend Tara, right?
Yes, I'm certain it is. As for you, well, I've heard congratulations are in order. You helped Mr. Dakarios save Baldur's Gate from the Absolute, isn't that right?
If that's what he told you, who am I to argue?
Well done. Despite my old friend's genius, he'd have blown himself up long ago if not for the help of friends like you and I. You ought to come visit myself and Gale when you're able, if you can extract yourself from what I'm sure are very important responsibilities.
I quite like that. Thanks for the invitation.
We'll send word by pigeon when we've need of you. I used to have a taste for them, but a great many things have changed in recent months. Ta-ta.
It's a kitty with wings.
Darling.
Blurry skies. Oh, such pleasure.
It's normal kitty size, but he's got wings. Thank you, Cappy.
Well, well. Look what the Tressim dragged in. Professor Gale Decarius of Blackstaff Academy. Educator of the esteemed School of Illusion. A pleasure to remake your acquaintance.
You confine yourself to the School of Illusion? I thought you could teach the entire curriculum.
I did offer, as a matter of fact. However, the Blackstaff insisted I couldn't teach every subject, nor could the simulacra of myself I offered to create for that purpose. So I've settled for teaching the art of illusion. Magic to confound the senses, to render the impossible into reality, and to allow expression of that most magical attribute of all, imagination. I fear my students find me somewhat intimidating due to my, explosive former reputation. I seem to put the fear of the gods into them. Or the fear of Mystra, to be more specific.
Yeah, fair enough.
She sought me out. Not long after, we went our separate ways, and assured me neither she nor the orb should pose me any threat in the future. Of course, it's still in there. A constant reminder of my former hubris. And a surprisingly effective means of keeping my more disobedient students in line. Perhaps a tad too effective. I spend most of my time trying to convince them how much fun the study of magic can be. But it'd be easier to crack a smile on an intellect devourer than some of my pupils.
Glad to hear that. The weave is not fodder for idle study. It's dangerous and should be treated that way.
Still, I hoped my students might be a little more open to the playful side of such magic. Oh, they try their best, of course, when they can manage to stay awake.
The cheek of them! Nothing a well-placed swipe from Tara can't fix, though.
And what of you? What are you making of this newfound lease of life we earned?
I'd say I'm pretty happy.
And I couldn't be happier for you. A fitting reward for the sacrifices you made in getting here. I've told my students plenty of tales about our escapades. You're something of a hero to them, you know? I'll be delighted to introduce you to my current cohort as a guest lecturer, perhaps. I'm sure they'd have plenty of questions for you.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
Excellent. I knew you wouldn't be able to resist the allure of sharing your expertise. Of course, you'll be most welcome to stay with me in my tower. My apologies, Tara. That would be our tower. It will give us plenty of time to catch up on your adventures. I'm very curious to know what you've been up to these past months. But I suspect the telling of that tale would keep you tied to me all evening. So, in the spirit of selflessness, I encourage you to mix and mingle for now, with time enough to come.
All right, who have I forgotten? Have I forgotten anybody else? That's Will. Alright, I think I'm talking to everybody else.
No longer hold any temptation. Are you enjoying yourself, my love?
I'd rather go off to a quiet corner.
Bold. There'll be plenty of time for that after we're caught up with our old friends. Anyway, I'll need to visit the doctor on our way home. He said there's a potential in his infirmary. A very old woman recently diagnosed with a wasting sickness. She seemed interested in what I have to offer. I want to have a good long talk with her before we make an arrangement. Though, if I'm being very selfish, I hope she'll say yes. I'm absolutely famished. And think of all those memories.
I'm glad to hear it. I was worried you were getting hungry.
I don't hide it well, do I? Some things don't change, even when everything else does. It's funny. I'm hungry in my body, but in my soul, too. That woman has lived a long life. Births, deaths, love, misfortune. And if she agrees, I'll be able to give her a dignified end and remember it all in her honor. But hey, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's enjoy ourselves. This is a rare enough treat, isn't it? Always, darling.
I guess that's it.
Oh, pardon me.
Oh, boy! Is it lovely to sniff you again? Do you even have to ask?
Bro.
A familiar sight. Scratch can't quite speak around the thing he has in his mouth.
Do you even have to ask?
Level 12? Look at that dude. Who are you?
Oh, hello. Let me guess, you've got some suggestions about the music choice.
You seem glum. I thought bards were supposed to be full of pep and joy.
I find it hard to summon up the trademark pep these days. You have no idea who I am, do you? I thought Withers might have set the stage a little.
Yeah, go on then. What's your name?
Milil. Though if the lack of song prayers is anything to go by, that name carries less weight than it used to.
Musical prayers were once offered to Milil, Lord of Song, a minor deity whose worship faded after offending the trickster god Cyric.
I'm washed up, I'm afraid.
I disagree. It's an honor to be serenaded by Milil, Lord of Song.
You know? You're bloody right! It is an honor! Finally! The scribe picks an adventurer of substance, of culture! What can I do you for?
Yeah, let's change the song.
Your wish is my... etc. What song do you want?
Something nostalgic and gentle.
Fantastic idea. It'll suit the whole affair perfectly.
But there is something about this spot. some magic in the air.
Seriously? We are but a humble guild who pride ourselves in telling stories. Guild of Great Genius. Vargas. Well, I considered it. Okay, Alfira. Oh, this is the Lady Bard. She woke me up all excited and told me she had a surprise. Trainee bards from Candlekeep to Waterdeep. Well, that's awesome. Lorik. Edward. Huh. Weird. Arabella. Arabella. Oh, that's the little girl.
Thanks be to Withers. Even a
After I touched the idol in the grove, it was like a big tree starting to grow on my head. He also asked me not to call him Beard Man. I wonder if she's talking about Elminster. That would make sense. Valyria.
Withers can pluck wine from all over the world, but is there one bottle of fresh blood?
Investigator Valyria, Sleuth of the Helm. Oh, that's right. I know who Valyria is now. Took me a minute to remember who the hell that was. No wonder no wonder they said they took credit for dispelling the cult. Checks out. Oh yeah, Art Kala. Okay, I remember him. He was the unconscious guy. Damon. Awesome. There's Elminster. Okay. Rather vague. Letter from Voss. Oh, Kithrak. Yeah, Kithrak.
beautiful thing, grander than any of the patriarch's dreary.
Lacus' death draws near. I've taken to the astral plane and slaughter who needs slaughtering. Looks like he's switched over to the Githzerai as well, which is great. I don't remember who this is. Oh, wait. Oh, they were Raphael's once. Now I remember who Hope is. Hope is the dwarf in Raphael's house. Mayrina. Started our own publishing house. She's an author. Okay. Letter from Nine Fingers. Okay. Zevlor, sick. Nice. And oh, the Emperor. Okay.
This seems pretty red, but no, not
A night
even
without
close.
care. No worry, no obligation. It's been too long.
Dagger +1. Alright. I guess that's it. Bolo's Guide to Baldur's Gate signed. Mind Flayer Parasite Specimen. Consume?
This one night is like any other, and yet different. Thou art the savior of Baldur's Gate, until such time it requires saving again. How dost thou feel?
I think I've caught up with everything, with everyone. What comes next?
What indeed? Prick up thy ears and listen. The balance of the world restored. The balance of these lives, mortal and otherwise, brought to account. Hear me, thou heroes, wastrels, friends. I have waited long to tell you these words. It is over. For now. Thou played thy part in weaving the fabric of fate itself, but for every thread you sewed, so did the gods unravel another. Sleep, rest, revel, but be ready. For thou mayst yet be needed. Until we meet again, I wish thee every possible fortune, health, wealth, love, and above all, problems worth solving.
The hope of more adventures to come.
To you.
Nice. That was fun. You're not watching too hard? Is that everything? Yeah, that's it. How was the extra stuff? It was pretty good. I thought there was going to be a little more to it than that, but it was nice. I guess for a content patch, that makes sense. I was expecting, and looking back at it, I realize it's ridiculous to expect this, but I was expecting something like the Mass Effect, what was the final DLC? The Citadel DLC? But I mean, that was DLC, so that makes sense. Did it help finish out the game, or did it not really change anything? It doesn't really change anything. It just gives a little more story with the characters that you played with the entire time, but it doesn't change anything, really. Yeah. Just character epilogue. Wrapping up with some of the characters that they didn't get you to talk to at the end of the game.
There thou art, the dead three. Thy faces gods, thy actions barely worthy of the name. Didst truly believe thy ploy would succeed? Didst believe I would not notice? Thou soughtst to bolster thy strength by taking away the souls of mortals. But souls vanish when their hosts become mind flayers. Didst think the other gods would not notice? Gods thou may be, yet thou hast proven thyself fools, everyone. The supplication of Bane, the whimper of Baal, the death mule of Merkel. Felled by mortals, I overestimated thee. They did not. Vermin, away. Thou wilt trouble us no more.